If you clicked on this video, you're probably in the beginning stages of your freelancing journey and you're wondering, how the heck do I make my first $1,000 through freelancing? Well, my name is Aisha, I'm a freelance creative and I provide social media management services and sometimes UGC and video editing. And I've had a little bit over 2 years of experience from freelancing full-time, and here are 5 things I wish I knew before making my first $1,000 as a freelancer in 2025. Because at the time of filming this, it's the year 2025. And the first point is, don't niche yourself a little too soon. What I mean by this is that don't put yourself in a box too soon. I know people are gonna say, well, isn't it better to pick one service and just go all in and offer it? Which I agree. However, when you're first starting out as a freelancer, when you're a complete beginner, it's great to offer between 2 to 3 more services that you genuinely know that you can provide. So I'll just put myself as an example. So when I first started out freelancing, I had no idea what to offer. And I decided, okay, you know what, because I've done social media management before for a bit over 6 years now, or like more than 6 years actually, in my previous company, I decided to offer that service as a freelancer. And I thought, okay, but I actually do like video editing because I used to edit silly little vlogs and post it on my YouTube channel. And I like the concept of storytelling through video editing. And I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to offer video editing, social media management, and also UGC. At that point in time, I had no idea that it was called UGC. I just knew that I saw people on Fiverr listing their services where brands would pass them their items and they would create organic content for the brand and then send it over to them and they would post it on their account, and you don't have to post it on your own personal account at all. And I was like, okay, I had no idea what that is. It sounds like a content creation, but you're not an influencer, so it's basically UGC. Anyways, I decided to post all those 3 services on the freelancing platform called Fiverr. And I know it receives a lot of bad rep, but at that point of time, I was like, you know what, there's no harm in trying because I have nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose. And I was really rich in time. So I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to spend time, going to post those services on Fiverr and see what happens. When you list out 2 to 3 services, you can see which are the most popular services that clients do require. And at that point of time, I realized that a lot of people were in need of video editing services and UGC. So I thought, okay, that's kind of cool that now that I put out all the services, I know which are the ones that are most popular. And once I knew which are the ones that people are in need for, where the market actually really needs, that's when I doubled down. And the great thing about not niching down is that when I started out offering video editing services and UGC, I started to realize things that I liked and what I didn't like. So for my video editing services, I would have different types of clients that would come to me that would require that service. It could be people in the real estate industry, aesthetic clinics, could be lifestyle vloggers, beauty brands, what else? There's just like so many of them, and then I've basically edited hundreds of videos at this point, and they are short form videos and long form videos. Because I went through that whole process where I had experience with so many different clients from different industries, I began to realize what I genuinely enjoyed, what I'm good at, and what are the clients that I personally prefer and would love to work as a retainer client. And that's when I realized, okay, I like to edit specific videos for specific type of people in specific industries. And that's when I decided to niche down what are the type of videos and industry that I personally would like to help with. Before niching down, you have to try out everything to find out what you really like, and then you can niche down. And again, it's the same for UGC. When I provided those services, I was receiving a lot from beauty brands, specifically from skincare, and also beauty products that had to do with like eyebrows, lashes, and eyeshadow. And I remember thinking, okay, it was really exciting to get those products and create content, but the more I did it for different brands, or like there was this brand that I worked with for I think a couple of months, I just didn't really enjoy the process because I realized, okay, I have to film the videos with good lighting at a certain time, and obviously you have to put on the makeup, remove it. If it doesn't work, you have to put it on again and redo it many times. Like, it was kind of frustrating and I low-key didn't enjoy doing it. So that's why I kind of stopped that service, even though I've received really good feedback from the clients that I worked with. But I just kind of dread it. The moment I realized I started dreading doing certain service, that's when I like, okay, you know what, I shouldn't pursue it fully, because even though there is a demand, people are paying for it, if you don't enjoy doing it, you're just going to dread it, and then you're just going to show up to work where you are filled with resentment, and that's not a good thing. You want to show up to work and feel good about doing the work, and also feel excited that you want to help the client. The moment you feel like you're dreading it, you're just doing it for the money, it's like, what's the point? Might as well just go back to a 9 to 5, right? So that was kind of like the mindset that I was in. Again, it's a good thing that I didn't niche down too soon, because the moment I put myself in a box, that's when I kind of become rigid and don't explore other potential services that I could have offered. And if you're stuck on not knowing what services to offer, just think about the one thing that people always go to you for help. Like, if people are always going to you because you're great at taking photos, take that as a clue as to what service that you could potentially provide for your freelancing business. Oh, and one thing I want to provide as well is that sometimes when you provide a certain service and you think that you're great at it, you don't know how that service could potentially lead you to open up to another completely different service. So I'll use myself as an example again. When I had a potential client reach out to me about video editing services, those are not the only services that she wanted. She also wanted someone to go on site, be there with her, film the content, help guide her when she's talking to the camera. And I was like, oh, but my job is only to edit videos and I don't have to meet anyone. And honestly, it depends on what you want at the end of the day. But for me, I thought, okay, you know what? Looking at, the industry that she's in, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. I've not actually met anyone in that space. Maybe I should just take up this opportunity and see how it goes. So instead of being rigid about, oh, I am only a video editor doing video editing services, I figured, okay, I'm kind of open to actually meeting the client, being on site, meeting her once a month. And at that point of time, I was helping her with her YouTube channel, and she wasn't only looking for someone to edit videos and be, filming the content itself. She also wants someone that could, potentially bounce off ideas. And it was great because she was in the self-development online coaching space, and I've consumed a lot of this type of content. So I kind of knew roughly what other types of content that she wants to go for in terms of her content on YouTube. So when I went there, I realized, oh, you know what? Actually, it's so much fun. I really liked, speaking to the client one-on-one in real life and just getting to know her and bouncing off ideas, and even like directing her in a way, like just guiding her of how to maybe don't repeat this sentence, maybe try something else. And it was just really fun. I like the aspect of it. And that's when I realized, okay, instead of just offering video editing services, I could also offer on-site content creation services and also creative direction in a sense. And that was really eye-opening for me, because it's like, okay, if I had not taken that opportunity, I wouldn't have, discovered that I liked doing this type of thing, which is like a whole nother different service. Well, I won't say completely different. It's still in the content creation video editing space, but still like just going down there and just basically managing the client in a sense, that really sparked another idea of like, okay, you know what, instead of just offering video editing services, I can expand that service by doing on-site content creation, guiding them, maybe helping them with scripts. And because of that, I have created a completely new service and a package because of that experience. So again, do not niche yourself down too soon, because you never know what are some similar services that you are currently providing that might be a great additional add-on to the service that you are currently have right now. Moving on to the next point, which is start doing things that will move you forward. For example, do not focus on the little things. And what I mean by this is that I was once a victim of this as well. And I think everyone can kind of relate to this as well, because when you are setting out a business or like a new thing, and especially at the beginning of your freelancing journey, you feel like, oh, I need the perfect website, the perfect portfolio, the perfect company name. Maybe I should start incorporating like a company name. Should I be an LLC or self-employed, blah, blah, blah. Like, you think of all these things and you're just like busy spending hours selecting a font for your brand, or maybe you keep editing that logo on Canva, just creating the perfect one, when at the end of the day, the most important thing is to start doing things that are moving the needle for you. And what I mean by that is, don't sweat the small stuff. If you keep thinking, oh, but how am I going to pay my taxes, blah, 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 you don't have to worry about that, because you've not earned a single cent yet. And that's honestly like a hard, brutal truth even for me to think about when I started in the beginning, because I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I've not even made anything yet. Why am I even worrying about how do I, draft out a contract? How do I pay my taxes? Blah, blah, blah. So you will figure those things as you go on. So don't worry about it. Worry about how you're going to make your first dollar, because you can spend so much time finding the perfect name, having the perfect portfolio. You're trying to tweak the colors, the fonts, blah, blah, blah. But then if no one sees it, then what's the point? Because for all you know, all the time that you spend tweaking, it'll be like 3 months. And then what? I'd rather you take the energy and spend those 3 months cold pitching and finding clients to get your first $1,000. Like for me, I remember the one thing that held me back was just being afraid. And honestly, when I first started out, I remember, if I pitch to, XYZ, and if they actually agree, how am I going to get on discovery call? What am I going to say? If they ask for prices, like how am I going to explain my prices? And it's all these things that are ruminating in my head that I'm overthinking, that I just don't do it. Like I use that fear as an excuse not to move forward. And sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself as to why is it that you're doing all these little things. Is it because you really want to do those little things, or is it because you're using it as an excuse to avoid doing the work, which is actually finding clients instead of making your whole brand look pretty? You can focus on that later, but right now the most important thing is to focus on making your first $1,000. Okay, moving on to the third point, which is to focus on your input and not output. What do I mean by this? Well, you see, a lot of times we always focus on the output and we cannot control the output. And what I mean by that is you cannot control when a potential client rejects you. You cannot control when a potential client ghosts you, ignores you, don't reply to you. The things that you need to focus on is things that you can control, which is basically your input. How many cold pitches are you sending per day? Are you, promoting your services on social media platform? Are you promoting your services on freelancing websites? Are you upgrading your skills? Like, what are the things that you can do right now that you can control? Focus on that instead of focusing, I need to have like 5 clients, so I'm gonna send 10 pitches, and no, they did not reply, or like, they can't afford my prices, blah blah blah. Like how, like stop stop focusing on the output. Focus on your input first. And I know a lot of times it can get a bit disheartening when you're like, but I've tried everything. Really? Did you really try everything? Because sometimes we have to be really honest with ourselves and be self-aware that maybe what we think that we've tried everything isn't really everything. Because if you try everything, you would have at least landed 1 client. And that is something that I personally had to be really honest with myself, because at the end of the day, there's no point being self-aware and not doing anything about it. So I really have to have that radical honesty where it's like, okay, when I say that I've done everything and it's so hard to find a client, in reality it's just me not putting in as much effort as much as I wanted to, because I know myself that I could put in a lot of effort in. It's just that I decided to put 50-60% in it. So be honest with yourself and think about, what is the input that you have been putting in, because if it's not what you want, then work towards it. Your input is a byproduct of the output that you receive. And the next important thing is to go above and beyond for your clients. I always say this, which is never overpromise your clients, but always overdeliver. Now, I know some people might not agree with this, but I do feel like the moment you don't overpromise your client, their expectations are like this, right? But when you don't overpromise them and then you overdeliver them, their trust in you and like their expectation of you just like shot up, and they're like, actually she said that she could do XYZ, but she's doing more than that, and I really appreciate it. So that's just something where you can build a good long-lasting relationship with your clients, because sometimes, and I would consider this as being a little strategic too, because let's say you land your dream client and they are not paying as much, let's say, and you're like, I really want to work with this client. I feel like I could get a lot of experience from it, and I could, basically practice my skills. Think of these clients as, okay, they are paying me to use my skills, and I can in turn learn more about how to make my skills better. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I say this because most of the time, freelancers, we kind of get a bad rep in a sense where I won't say a bad rep. People tend to have that stereotypical expectation that just because you're a freelancer, I can pay you low and I don't have much expectation from you, when in reality you can actually prove them wrong. And like I said, when you over deliver to them, you're not flaky, you answer to them accordingly, you send the deliverables on time, you're not late, you take the initiative, you put in more effort. That's when the client will see you as someone who is so valuable and also irreplaceable. Because when you have those kind of relationship where the client really values you, they most likely will want to work with you in the long term. And I say that because I've experienced it before, where the client itself told me like, hey, I really want to continue working with you because I like our working relationship, we have the same style, we can work together. And that's like honestly the dream conversation a freelancer can get. And especially if you guys are on the same wavelength, the same values, and they are paying the price that you want, like you have a win basically. So what I'm trying to say is always go above and beyond and over deliver for your clients, because you never know what are the opportunities and other doors that might open for you. Because let's say this client is so satisfied with your working relationship with them, and even though they're not paying that much, like they will have their own set of network where they might recommend you to other people who might require your services. And last but not least is that it's okay to start with low paying clients. Now this might be an unpopular opinion, and people would always say, oh, don't undervalue yourself, like don't get underpaid, make sure they are paid accordingly and fairly, which I agree, trust me, I agree. However, if you are a freelancer that is clearly starting out, you're a completely beginner and you have no experience working one-on-one with clients before, granted, maybe you're like, okay, I've actually worked in a previous company where I had so much experience and skills, blah, blah, blah. But you have to remember, in the client's mind, it's probably like, okay, but you worked in a company, you probably had other people on your team to help you with the work as well. As a freelancer, you are a one-woman show and you are doing it all on your own from A to Z, from closing the pitch with the client, onboarding the client, and delivering the results, and just basically everything. Like you are one person doing like, let's say, a 5-person job. Again, I'll use myself as an example. So when I was in the first year of my freelancing journey, I was obviously desperate for clients, right? Because at the point of time, my savings, they were running out, and I really need to lock in and getting clients. And I remember there was this client that reached out to me and asked whether I could help them create UGC content. And I think it was between 8 to 12 videos, depending on what they wanted. And they were only going to pay me $500 flat. And at the point of time, I had no negotiation skills, and I was like, you know what? I've actually never even worked with this type of client in this niche before. I just tell myself that I shouldn't be picky and I should just try, because you never know, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? You work with them for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then you suck. And then, okay, now you know that you suck. Let's move on, because you didn't like doing what you did. Then we can just move on and not do that thing anymore. I thought, okay, I really wanted to try UGC again, and this time it's within a completely different industry, which I've never done before. So I thought, okay, let's just try. And they're paying $500. That's fine. I can pay certain things with $500, right? Like, it is still money to me. And I remember the client was like, okay, can I see your work? And I had no similar work that I could provide to him that he could relate with his brand. So I remember he was like, I'm not sure if we, should work together, because it seems like you've never created content for this type of brand before. And I thought, okay, I'm going to create organic content from scratch where he can visualize his brand and see it. Like, okay, she can create this kind of content. That's great. I'm going to hire her, And so for my portfolio, I actually did I think around 3 to 5 videos, if I'm not wrong, where they are short form organic content, so that he can visualize how his brand will look like when I come in to help with the content. So after doing that, he actually hired me, and I was like, okay, that's great. I had no experience with this specific industry, but because I did give him examples of how I could help, like, he instantly hired me, and that felt freaking great, I'm not gonna lie. But where I'm going with the story is that when I worked with him for a couple of months, that's when he started asking me, like, hey, instead of doing UGC content, do you offer like other services like social media management? And I'm like, oh my god, like, that's my jam. Like, I did that for over 6 years, and I can definitely help you with it. And I loved the account, I loved working with the brand, and it was just really exciting for me. And the fact that he even offered to do social media management service for him, that's when I could upsell my offer. So instead of charging $500, I charged him $2,200, and that was really freaking amazing because he eventually agreed to it. And I think I charged more than $2,200 because he was asking more than just social media management. He was asking me to help him with the newsletter part, which maybe that could be another video that I could get into when we are structuring our services. But he negotiated the price and it went down to $2,200, but still I was like, shit, like he actually wants to work with me at that pricing. So that is when I was like, okay, you know what, it's okay to start with low paying clients. And that doesn't mean that low paying clients don't deserve your time, but when you're first starting out and you can see the potential in the working relationship and how you can grow together with a brand and how the brand also sees that too, that's when you can, basically upsell and progress and have a good long-term relationship and eventually get paid the price that you want. So yeah, that is my last tip for this, and I really hope that this has given you some sort of clarity or helped you in one way or another, because I know freelancing can be scary because you're literally a one-woman show where you're doing everything from A to Z, but at the end of the day, everything is figureoutable. You can figure it out and learn as you go. So don't sweat the small stuff, take it one day at a time and one thing at a time. But most importantly, if you're trying to find your first client, focus on your input. That's the most important thing. Focus on your input and be consistent with it. And most importantly, don't give up, because honestly, if I can do it, like, you can do it too. When you hit that first high ticket client, like, it is gonna feel so sweet. It's gonna taste so sweet that you're like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that I did it all on my own. And that's the beautiful part of freelancing, is that when you realize that you're more than capable of doing this, you're gonna look at it like a game, and you're going to like earn more, you're going to get better with your job, you're going to get better with your skills, and then you can also start scaling your freelancing business in a sense. So I hope that watching this video and listening to this helped in one way or another. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section. I honestly would love to chat with you guys. And I also opened up a free one-on-one freelancing coaching call where you can ask me any questions about freelancing, and this is open up especially if you're a beginner. I will help you as much as I can with the knowledge that I have. Thank you so much again for watching this video, and if you made it this far, maybe comment like a disco ball emoji in the comment section, and let me know what other videos you would like to see from me next about freelancing, or it could be about content creation, or maybe about the services that I offer that maybe you could potentially also do as well. I was thinking that I could do one full video on how to create content for restaurants as a freelance social media manager, because that is one thing that I'm good at and one thing that makes a chunk of my income. And I feel like if you want to pursue in that side or like that industry, I can help you as much as I can, because honestly at this point I don't really care if you see the systems that I use. Like, I just want to help, because abundance is everywhere. Anyone can do it from anywhere. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!